Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Well, good evening now on the eastern side of the United States, for it is 5:02 in the afternoon, January 27th, 2021. It's actually my birthday, and weird, I forgot that when I woke up this morning, but I was incredibly tired. Now, many of you know that a video that I did yesterday got deleted for, quote, harmful content. They didn't give any other reason as to why it got taken down. And I'm very upset about it because there was a lot of good information. And I don't even have a base yet. And YT is already interrupting my videos. So I have a couple of things today. Different things from yesterday, some of the same stuff. But this one's not going to be nearly as long. And it's not going to contain some stuff that I think may have been responsible for it being taken down, but we'll do it little at a time. One more video gets taken down and I am suspended for a week, so let's hope this one is good. The reason that I am showing you this again, because this is very important. These are the Georgia Guidestones. They are in Elberton, Georgia, which is in Elbert County, and it is a monument, and it was put up by somebody or some organization, or no one's ever claimed credit for it, but RC Christian is where the credit is given. Now, it's a giant stone slabs, different languages, things like that. But we're going to go here and we are going to go down through the English side again. So, the first one, maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. That means that currently 7.5 billion people would have to die to get to 500 million. Guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity. So they're going to, well, they want to, and by the looks of it, they're going to control, for the first time in history, human reproduction, which is a naturally occurring thing that nobody has control over because we all control that for ourselves, whether you want to or not. Unite humanity with a living new language. Now, those who know about Babylon from the Holy Bible, it was the first world government, and they wanted to build a temple that reached unto God so they could be as God. And then the Lord came down and he split them up all four corners of the earth and confused the languages because they were all of one language, and it was very corrupt. So the Lord ended that. Rule, passion, faith, and tradition, and rule, passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason. So they are going to rule everything with, quote, tempered reason. Your definition of tempered reason is different from my definition of tempered reason, which is, of course, different from their definition of tempered reason. A lot of these things are arbitrary. It's not meant to sound that terrible, even though they blatantly come out their first one and say, oh, maintain humanity under 500 million, which to me is just terrible, because who decides who lives and who dies? Protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. Okay, so protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. They define what is just. They define fair laws. They define which people to protect. And nations, I actually have something to show you after that. It's going to be one global government, but it's going to be broken up into 10 parts. And I actually have the Club of Rome map that I told you about the other day that I wanted to show you. I found it, the copy that I have, and I'm very excited to show you that. Not excited that it's a thing, but nevertheless. Let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court. So right there, world court. And let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes, whatever. Avoid petty laws and useless officials. Define petty law and useless official. Balance personal rights with social duties. Again, personal rights, social duties. What about God-given rights that you are granted to by our Creator? When you are born on this earth through no fault of your own, you have freedom. You are born a free person. I am born a free person. Only you can give up your freedom. Only you. Nobody else can. I will never give up the freedom that I enjoy myself. Prize truth, beauty, love, seeking harmony with the infinite. Of course, we know that they're not going to prize truth. Proof of that is what they did to me yesterday and many other people. I'm hardly the first, and I'm definitely not the last. It'll be their truth, and we know that the beast system comes in the form of love and acceptance and sustainability and all-inclusive, and it's a good thing. Be not a cancer on the earth. And then twice it says, leave room for nature, leave room for nature. Because none of us will be allowed to live outside of, quote, smart cities, mega cities. If you live on the land and you're a property owner, you will not be able to do that anymore in the New World Order. Now, I got a couple things here. I wanted to show you this. This is Deagle.com, forecast 2025. And a lot of people know about Deagle.com. A lot of people don't, but it's been changed up on mobile devices. But you can see here where it says switch to list of countries 2019. But we are on the forecast for 2025, which gives us 4 years according to, and they have a little disclaimer below. Yeah. Okay, so you got here population and you got money, stuff like that, but we're going to go down through here. This is 2025. So China is going to be down to 1.358 billion people by 2025. India is going up from their current to 1.341 billion people. Russia is going down to 141 million people. It used to say how many people that they have now, but you have to go to a different page for that now. So this is just the way they have it set up now. Brazil is going down to 210 million, I believe. Indonesia is going down to 267 million, or maybe 1,000. I'm not exactly sure because it doesn't say anymore. Japan is going down to 103 million from their current. Mexico is going down. But this is the one I wanted to focus on. The United States of America. You currently know that we have 327 million people in this country, and it's growing every single day. Well, by 2025, this is saying, and this is the official population projections. This is a military aviation website. We are going from 327 million people down to 99 million. 99 million people will be living in this country by 2025, according to this. I know there's some people on here from the United Kingdom, so we'll go down to that. But I just wanted to highlight where it says that we are going down to 99 million from 327 million. What's going to happen in the next 4 years that brings us down to this? No idea, but that's why I showed you the Georgia Guidestones first, because this is all about that. This is all about the New World Order, And I actually have a compilation of quotes by famous people, presidents and stuff, talking about the New World Order that I am going to read to you today. United Kingdom, whatever you guys have right now, I'm not exactly sure, but you're going down to 14 million people. So you can think of what you have right now. I know one guy on here, he's from the United Kingdom, and I love that, actually. I love that people all over the world are watching my videos. I think people all over the world should watch everybody's videos. And if you're watching me, you should also be watching Tim, who is Restore the Republic 76. And he has one called Republic in Distress. Very good man, godly, humble, just a great man doing a great thing, and he's awake to what's going on, and he's trying to warn people about things that are going on. But if you see your country on here, wherever you're from, maybe you can go down through here and look at that real quick, because I have a lot to go over, but it's not going to be too long because I don't want them to take away my video, because I will get suspended for a week. So yeah, these are all the countries and the populations, and I guarantee if you added them all up, it would equal out to be about 500 million. I haven't done it myself, but if somebody wants to do that and then tell me so we can see if it'll add up to 500 million. If it does, that just lends more credibility to what they are trying to do. Now, Agenda 21. We all know about Agenda 21. It was adopted in 1992 by 190 some different countries, and what I'm going to read you comes from a real news site, not a crap news site, not propaganda, none of that. This is legitimate. People that write this are truth seekers as well. So it goes on. Well, what is Agenda 21? Depopulation of 95% of the world by 2030. Most people are unaware that one of the greatest threats to their freedom may be a United Nations program which plans to depopulate 95% of the world. The name of this plan is Agenda 21, and it was developed by the United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs Division for Sustainable Development as part of a sustainability policy. Stupid ads. According to the United Nations website, Agenda 21 is a comprehensive plan of action to be taken globally, nationally, and locally by organizations of the United Nations system, government, and major groups in every area in which humans have an impact on the environment. In a nutshell, the plan calls for governments to take control of all land use and not leave any of the decision-making in the hands of private property owners. So you don't get a say. Private property is no longer going to exist. This is going to be a one-world totalitarian socialist government or a one-world communist government. It is going to be the most totalitarian government anybody has ever seen, and if they get it, nobody will be able to rise up ever again, because you will not have the tools or the knowledge to do so. And the people that do are going to no longer be with us. So it is assumed that people are not good stewards of their land, and the government will do a better job if they are in control. You know, government knows best. Individual rights in general are to give way to the needs of communities as determined by the governing body. So you will give up your individual rights to the idea of communitarianism, which is communism. Let's be honest. Moreover, people should be rounded up off the land and packed into human settlements or islands of human habitation close to employment centers and transportation. Another program called the Wildlands Project spells out how most of the land is to be set aside for non-humans. Agenda 21 policies date back to the 70s, but got its real start in 1992 at the Earth Summit in Rio de Janeiro when President Bush Sr., just wanted to make that clarification, of course, signed onto it. And, you know, President Bush was one of the first people to really come out modern and say, oh, a new world order, a world quite different from the one we've known. And you'll see all that in the quotes that I have compiled for you guys. President Clinton signed it later and continued the program in the United States. Agenda 21 is soft law and did not have to be voted on by the Congress. A non-governmental organization called the International Council of Local Environmental Initiatives is tasked with carrying out the goals of Agenda 21. Over 600 cities in the United States are members, and that number is growing. The costs are paid by the taxpayers, so us. And the document is there, and you can watch the video on Agenda 21. But if you're interested in this website, I'll probably link it in the comments once I go back through, and you can go and read the document for yourself. And so you don't have to listen to propaganda tell you that that's not what it is, when you can go read it for yourself. Most people won't, and they just listen to the news media, gatekeepers, whenever they get on there and tell you that's not what it is, this and that. Okay. We went over this the other day, and I named the video Agenda 2030 Translation Light because I was on lunch. I was trying to rush, and it was one of those things where I had to be quick. So, okay, let me show you what is going on here. Following are 5 brief articles and links to two short podcasts. United Nations Agenda 2030 is exposed and decoded. Agenda 20130, of course, is simply UN Agenda 21. That was a typo right there. Agenda 21 on steroids, which is the truth. Other synonyms for UN Agenda 21: smart growth. So if you hear that, Agenda 21. Comprehensive land use planning. So Agenda 21. And sustainable development. Don't be fooled by the name changes. These United Nations sanctioned programs are designed to usher in a communist, Zionist, well, it's not just them, so I'm just not gonna, they're involved, but it's not only them. So, world totalitarian dictatorship that would impoverish, enslave, and, quote, genocide the vast majority of humanity. That is the truth. The United Nations 2030 Agenda Decoded is a blueprint for global enslavement of humanity under a boot of corporate masters. And this just talks about how this guy published this article and how it's translated, which these translations are correct. Absolutely. I've put a lot of time into this back in 2015 whenever the Pope came to the United States and he was spearheading Agenda 2030. I put a lot of time into the research of this, and I wanted to come on here and make sure that everybody understood what is going on. So, goal number 1, end poverty in all its forms everywhere. Sounds good, right? Translation: put everyone on government welfare, food stamps, housing subsidies, and handouts that make them obedient slaves to global government. Never allow people upward mobility to help themselves. Instead, teach mass victimization and obedience to government that provides monthly allowance money for basic essentials like food and medicine. Label it ending poverty. And a lot of this stuff is simultaneous. It's not like they're, okay, we're going to do this one and then this one and then this. No, this is all simultaneous, all going on at one time. There are a lot of people involved in seeing this through, because that's the only way that they can get it done. And a lot of the people on the lower end, they don't know what they're doing really. They're not told, hey, you're helping us build a world government. No, they're told, oh, you're helping people. You're helping to end hunger, achieve food security, and improve nutrition and promote sustainable agriculture, which is goal number 2, but that's something that they would tell. Why does that thing keep popping out like that? I don't like that on the right side of the screen. Oh, well. Translation: invade the entire planet with GMOs and Monsanto's patented seeds while increasing the use of deadly herbicides under the false claim of increased output of food crops. Engineer genetically modified plants to boost specific vitamin chemicals while having no idea of the long-term consequences of genetic pollution or cross-species genetic experiments carried out openly in a fragile ecosystem. Monsanto owns literally, I think it's like 98%, if not 100% now, of the food in our society, all societies. Well, there's other companies' names, but Monsanto now owns all of that. And they had a partnership with Bayer a couple years ago, and Bayer is a medicine company. So, the food makes you sick, got to go to the hospital and give Bayer some money too, and they own you after that. Number 3, ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all at all ages. Translation: mandate 100 plus vaccines for all children and adults at gunpoint, threatening parents with arrest and imprisonment if they refuse to cooperate. Push heavy medication use on children and teens while rolling out screening programs. Call mass medication prevention programs and claim they improve the health of citizens. We already see this one going on too. Like I said, this is all simultaneous. This is all going on right now under our noses while we sleep. Goal number 4. Ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. Translation: push a false history and a dumbed-down education under Common Core education standards that produce obedient workers rather than independent thinkers. Never let people learn real history, or else they might realize they don't want to repeat it. What kind of real history they teach in public school, which is government-funded school? Yeah, it's taxpayer-funded, but so that just makes... we are funding our children's failure in the New World Order. That's how that is. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything on my channel, so don't come here for feel-good language and this and that, because you're not going to get it from me. This is serious, and it needs addressed by every single person, and we all need to get this stuff out now, before, 2025 and 2030. We got a couple years. Achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls. Translation: criminalize Christianity, marginalize heterosexuality, demonize males, and promote the LGBT agenda everywhere. The real goal is hold on, I have to make a disclaimer. I am not against the LGBT movement. I have friends that are gay. I don't care what people do. I believe in freedom. I just wanted to make that clear. I'm just reading this because they are being used. I'm not against it. I am 100% pro-freedom. So there's that. The real goal is never equality, but rather the marginalization and shaming of anyone who expresses any male characteristics whatsoever. The ultimate goal is to feminize society, creating widespread acceptance of gentle obedience, along with self-weakening ideas of communal property and sharing everything, because only male energy has the strength to rise up against oppression and fight for human rights. The suppression of male energy is key to keeping the population in a state of eternal acquiescence. How true is that, ladies and gentlemen? That is so true, because male energy is the only energy that has the strength to rise up against oppression. And this is not a jab at the ladies, because obviously ladies will rise up with us and fight, and they will be very helpful, because we all need to be in this together. But men, we have something in us, the testosterone. It makes us do crazy things sometimes, and we get mad a lot easier, and we can't control our anger sometimes. I'm butchering this, but it's really hard to explain. But men, if you're listening, you know what I mean. You can feel it inside of you. You can feel the testosterone. You can feel your strength. Ensure availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all. And all this stuff sounds very good. It sounds great. Of course, I would love to have availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all. A lot of people have dirty water and they deserve clean water, but not the way that these people are trying to do it, because they don't care about the water for all. They care about control of all. Allow powerful corporations to seize control of the world's water supplies. Done. Charge monopoly prices to build new water delivery infrastructure that ensures availability. Also, he probably should have put in there that fluoridation of the water too, because the fluoride increases the heavy metal toxicity in the brain, which calcifies the pineal gland and also leads to early onset Alzheimer's, lower IQs, low motor functions, slow reaction times, low cognitive function, you name it, all of it. That's why Hitler fluoridated the water in the concentration camps, so the prisoners would never rise up and overthrow him. Excuse me. Ensure access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all. Penalize coal, gas, and oil, pushing doomed-to-fail green energy subsidies to brain-dead startups headed by friends of the White House who go bankrupt, whatever. Green startups make for impressive speeches and media coverage, but because these companies are led by corrupt idiots rather than capable entrepreneurs, they always go broke. And the media hopes you don't remember all the fanfare surrounding their original launch. Promote sustained, inclusive, and sustainable economic growth, full and productive employment, and decent work for all. Sounds good. This don't. Regulate small business out of existence. That's happening now with the, I don't want to get into that because then I might get this video taken down, but you know what I mean. Build resilient infrastructure, promote inclusive and sustainable industrialization, and foster innovation. Put nations into extreme debt with the World Bank, spending debt money to hire corrupt American corporations to build large-scale infrastructure projects that trap developing nations in an endless spiral of debt. See the book, blah, blah, blah. Reduce inequality within and among countries. Punish the rich, the entrepreneurs, and the innovators, confiscating nearly all gains by those who choose to work and excel. Redistribute the confiscated wealth to the masses of non-working human parasites to feed off a productive economy while contributing nothing to it, all while screaming about equality. That's happening on a global scale already to a extraordinary degree. I mean, there are some people out there that literally want to do nothing else except sit home, get paid by the rest of us and by the government, and they're fine with that. They don't want to help with anything. They don't want to even promote freedom. They don't care about anybody else except for themselves and what they can get off of other people. And that's the truth. It's human nature. If we all could get something for free, we would. I would. So that's just the way that we are. Some people actually do it. Others, we want to make a name for ourselves and make a living and all that stuff. Here's one of my favorite ones. Take a drink real quick. Now notice when I say it's one of my favorite, I actually mean it's one of my most non-favorite, we'll say. Make cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. Ban all gun ownership by private citizens, concentrating guns into the hands of obedient government enforcers who rule over an unarmed, enslaved class of impoverished workers. Criminalize living in most rural areas by instituting Hunger Games-style protected areas. That's already happening now with the Bureau of Land Management and, you can't go here, this is state property, which the government will claim are owned by the people, even though no people are allowed to live there. Force all humans into densely packed, tightly controlled cities, where they are under 24/7 surveillance, subject to easy manipulation by government. Holy hell is that going on. Ensure sustainable consumption and production patterns. Begin levying punitive taxes on the consumption of fossil fuels, electricity, forcing people to live under conditions of worsening standards of living that increasingly resemble third world conditions. Use social influence campaigns in TV, movies, and social media to shame people who use gasoline, water, electricity, establishing a social construct of ninnies and tattlers who rat out their neighbors in exchange for food credit rewards. People are already ratting out their neighbors if I turned my music up real loud, my neighbors would definitely call the cops on me, and they would come here and they would probably write me a ticket, hassle me, want to come into my house, probably put me in jail. That's how that would go. And the rest of these, you can read through them because I really wanted to get to some stuff. And if I make this long and they delete it, I'm going to kick myself in the behind. So, kind of just go through here, read it. And then we'll get to it. The last thing that I wanted to show you guys, and this one's probably going to take a little bit of time, so we'll get rid of that. No, stay. Oh man, that was scary. Okay, this is where it starts. So, you know how all the people in your life tell you that, people tell me all the time they have been for like 10 years. I really got to stop smoking cigarettes. It's the worst habit that I have. It's not a good thing at all. It's terrible, and I wish I never would have started. But that's a disclaimer, just personal life stuff, and I'm really starting to get sick of it. But, okay. People always tell you, and they tell me, oh, Austin, there is no New World Order. What are you talking about? You're insane. You're crazy. Nobody would ever do that. People are good. Generally, no one's planning this. Where did you get that? That's a crazy conspiracy theory. You're a crazy tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorist. Anyway, okay, well, these are all quotes from presidents, business leaders, people in the private sector, rich people, about such a thing. So, already, there's 3 or 4 of them. This proves it, but there's a whole lot. So we are going to get into this. Quote, there are a lot of very brilliant people who believe that the nation state is fast becoming a relic of the past. And that was President Bill Clinton, New York Times, November 25th, 1997. Quote, what I'm trying to do is promote a process of reorganization of the world. President Clinton. Interview with Argentine Papers, October 17th, 1997. The developing coherence of Asian regional thinking is reflected in a disposition to consider problems and loyalties in regional terms, to evolve regional approaches to development needs and to the evolution of a new world order. Richard Nixon in Foreign Affairs, October 67. There are those who have proposed regional governments, regional spheres of influence, aspirations of Japan and Asia, of Russia over what the USSR, of the US and the Americas, an extension of the Monroe Doctrine, so forth, but Americans see their interest as more global, such as their oil interest in the Near East, communication, air, transportation, use of seas, and satellites. Man, my phone is going crazy. People are blowing me up. Space, worldwide pollution, environmental concerns, along with many other issues, are global in nature. Large sovereign regional governments could and would lead to interregional conflicts and would blah, 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 blah. That's also by Richard Nixon. That's what that means up there. Okay, I'm going to keep going. Okay, here we go. President John F. Kennedy, September 20th, 1963. United Nations cannot survive as a static organization. Its obligations are increasing as well as its size. Its charter must be changed as well as its customs. The authors of that charter did not intend that it be frozen perpetually. The science and weapons of war has made us all one world and one human race with one common destiny. The United Nations, building on its successes and learning from its failures, must be developed into a genuine world security system. George Herbert Walker Bush, Mr. New World Order himself. The world can therefore seize the opportunity, this was during the Persian Gulf crisis, to fulfill the long-held promise of a new world order where diverse nations are drawn together in common cause to achieve the universal aspirations of mankind. Here's another one, George Bush. If we do not follow the dictates of our inner moral compass and stand up for human life, then this lawlessness will threaten the peace and democracy of the emerging new world order we now see. This long dreamed of vision we've all worked toward for so long. And remember, I told you this is generations in planning. These people have been at this since, well, even before the United States was a thing. And the United States kind of just threw a monkey wrench into what they were doing at the time. But there was a secret destiny of America where powerful people came here and wanted to alter the history and the course of this country. I'll get into that another time, but I'm going to keep going. What is at stake is more than one small country. It is a big idea, a new world order to achieve the universal aspirations of mankind based upon shared principles and the rule of law. The illumination of 1,000 points of light, the winds of change are with us now. President George Bush Sr. Another one by Bush Sr. It is the sacred principles enshrined in the United Nations Charter to which the American people will henceforth pledge their allegiance. So this guy, before I was born, decided to sign hundreds of millions of people up, pledge their allegiance to the New World Order instead of freedom and the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and to their fellow man. So there's that. George Bush again. There's a lot of them from him in here. That's why I called him Mr. New World Order himself, because that's what he is. The Persian Gulf crisis is a rare opportunity to forge new bonds with old enemies, the Soviet Union. Out of these troubled times, a new world order can emerge under a United Nations that performs as envisioned by its founders. The world can therefore seize the opportunity to fulfill long-held promise. Oh, yeah, I just read that one. Sorry. 2 centuries ago, our forefathers brought forth a new nation. Now, we must join with others to bring forth a new world order. 32 U.S. Senators, 92 U.S. Representatives in D.C., January 30th, 76. This is George McGovern in the New York Times, 91, February. I would support a presidential candidate who pledged to take the following steps at the end of the war in the Persian Gulf, press for comprehensive Middle East settlement, and for a new world order based not on Pax Americana, but on peace through law with stronger UN and world court. Richard Gephardt, not sure who that is, but Wall Street Journal, 1990. We can see beyond the present shadows of the war in the Middle East to a new world order where the strong work together to deter and stop aggression. This was precisely Franklin Roosevelt and Winston Churchill's vision for peace for the post-war period. Henry Kissinger, everybody's favorite, speaking at Evian, France, May 21st, 92, Bilderberg meeting. Unbeknownst to Kissinger, his speech was taped by a Swiss delegate to the meeting. That guy is a true patriot of the Swiss and a true freedom fighter for the world. Today, America would be outraged if United Nations troops entered Los Angeles to restore order. Tomorrow, they will be grateful. This is especially true if they were told there were an outside threat from beyond, i.e. extraterrestrial invasion, whether real or promulgated, emphasis by original, that threaten our very existence. It is then that all the people of the world will plead to deliver them from this evil. The one thing every man fears is the unknown. When presented with this scenario, individual rights will be willingly relinquished for the guarantee of their well-being. granted to them by the world government. You know, the one that doesn't exist. The one that I'm just on here talking all crazy because I'm some crazy guy that lives in Ohio. Just some a-hole. So, whatever. Henry Kissinger again. My country's history, Mr. President, tells us that it's possible to fashion unity while cherishing diversity, that common action is possible despite the variety of races, interests, and beliefs we see here in this chamber. Progress and peace, justice are attainable, so we say to all peoples and governments, let us fashion together a new world order. He also said NAFTA is a major stepping stone to the New World Order. This guy, Ralph W. Page, Philadelphia Bulletin, May 44. He, John Foster Dulles, stated directly to me that he had every reason to believe that the governor, Thomas Dewey of New York, accepts his point of view and that he is personally convinced that this is the policy that he would promote with great vigor if elected. So it is fair to say that on the first round, the Sphinx of Albany has established himself as a prima facie champion, a strong and definite new world order. We are not going to achieve a new world order without paying for it in blood, as well as words and money. Arthur Schlesinger, Jr., Foreign Affairs, July, August, 95. This regionalization is in keeping with the trilateral plan, which calls for a gradual convergence of East and West, ultimately leading toward the goal of one world government. National sovereignty is no longer a viable concept. Zbigniew Brzezinski, National Security Advisor to President Jimmy Carter. The precondition for eventual and genuine globalization is progressive regionalization. Same guy. Under Secretary of State Sumner Welles tonight called for the early creation of an international organization of anti-Axis nations to control the world during the period between the armistice at the end of the present war and setting up of a new world order on a permanent basis. In the next century, nations as we know it will be obsolete. All states will recognize a single global authority. National sovereignty wasn't such a great idea after all. Strobe Talbot, Clinton's Deputy Secretary of State, Time Magazine, July 20th, 92. But it became clear, as time went on, that in Mr. Bush's mind, the New World Order was founded on a convergence of goals and interests between the U.S. and the Soviet Union, so strong and permanent that they would work as a team through the UN Security Council. Excerpt from A.M. Rosenthal in the New York Times, 91. It's Bush's baby, even if he shares the popularization with Gorbachev. Forget the can't say that word because I might get taken off, New Order, root. FDR used the phrase earlier. A lot of people use the phrase way earlier than that because this is an ages-old plan. Further global progress is now possible through quest for universal consensus in the movement towards a new world order. Mikhail Gorbachev, Address, United Nations, December 88. We are beginning to see our practical support in this very significant sign of the movement towards a new era, a new age. We see both our country and elsewhere ghosts of the old thinking. When we rid ourselves of their presence, we will be better able to move toward a new world order, relying on the relevant mechanisms of the United Nations. President Mikhail Gorbachev, Soviet Union, Middle East Peace Talks, Madrid, Spain, 91. Everyone's favorite, Nelson Mandela. The New World Order that is in the making must focus on the creation of a world of democracy, peace, and prosperity for all. The renewal of the Non-Proliferation Treaty was described as important for the welfare of the whole world and the New World Order. President Hosni Mubarak of Egypt, New York Times, 95, April. No one will enter the New World Order unless he or she will make a pledge to worship Lucifer. No one will enter the New Age unless he will take a Luciferian initiation. David Spangler, Director of Planetary Initiative, United Nations. That is what it's about. It's Lucifer's New World Order. Mankind did not come up with this. Fundamental Bible-believing people do not have the right to indoctrinate their children in their religious beliefs because we, the state, are preparing them for the year 2000 when the America will be a part of a one-world global society and their children will not fit in. Nebraska State Senator Peter Hoagland, 1982. Funny thing about that, people were still pushing back against it, and it got pushed back. And right now it's pushed back to 2030, so they got it delayed 30 years, so we need to keep fighting, keep exposing, keep fighting them. Don't let them get away with this. We have a much bigger objective. We got to look at the long run here. This is an example. The situation between the United Nations and Iraq, where the United Nations is deliberately intruding into the sovereignty of a sovereign nation. Now, this is a marvelous precedent to be used in all countries of the world. CFR member, which is Council on Foreign Relations, former CIA director when asked about Iraq on CNN, Stansfield Turner. The New World Order is a world that has supranational authority to regulate world commerce and industry, an international organization that would control the production and consumption of oil, international currency that would replace the dollar, a world development fund that would make funds available to free and communist nations alike, international police force to enforce the edicts of the New World Order. Willy Brandt, former West German chancellor, blah, 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 late 1980s. And that was world leaders. Now, these are statements by the rich. As you can see, there have been so many people that referred to the New World Order. We are grateful to the Washington Post, New York Times, Time Magazine, other great publications whose directors have attended our meetings and respected their promises and discretion. For almost 40 years, it would have been impossible for us to develop our plan for the world if we have been subject to the bright lights of publicity during those years. But the work is now much more sophisticated and prepared to march toward world government. Supranational sovereignty of an intellectual elite and world bankers is surely preferable to the national auto-determination practiced in past centuries. I'm actually going to stop here for now and put the rest of these in the next video because it's getting late. I have to get something to eat. I got to get a shower, and because I got to work tomorrow, of course. So I'm going to leave it here for now. We'll see what happens to this video, and we'll pick up on this soon. But you could see so far that the New World Order phrase has been used and the plan has been talked about throughout the years by so many different people. And there's a whole lot of quotes here that I have yet to go over. But we'll leave it at that. We will actually say the Lord's Prayer because this really got me into my feels. And I hope that I'm doing God's work here because that's just the way that I am. So pray with me if you want. If not, you don't have to. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not unto temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen.